Hey, welcome to another Two Bear Arms broadcast. Today we're doing the unloaded segment. I'm Kurt.
I'm Deuce.
All right, we welcome everybody to the program again. The unloaded segments, for those that haven't watched before, we just kind of do whatever. We talked about it before the podcast. We have a whiteboard behind us there, behind the camera there, that we can usually put notes on, and we decided to totally wing it today.
Totally unscripted today.
Unscripted. I like that. One thing we did decide, though, that we're going to do, last week we did at the end of the podcast, we threw Razorback Red under the bus and made him, or obligated him to provide White Claw to a lucky winner.
Right.
And there was a lucky winner, and he's having to provide White Claw, so that was pretty fantastic.
What was even better about that is he knew nothing about it
Yeah, that was
until
cool.
he was contacted by the winner.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What are you talking about?" Well, now he's on the hook for a 6-pack of White Claw.
Yeah. Red, you got to start listening to our show all the way through.
And I don't even know if they do White Claw in 6-pack because it's pretty dangerous stuff.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's like
I haven't tried.
2.5%.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
I mean,
not
that's
try-
powerful stuff.
Yeah, you have to drink all six to start catching a bus.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand. So at the end of the broadcast today, somebody's getting thrown under the bus. One of our friends in the cowboy world.
Somebody we know.
Yep. And they're going to have to provide a 6-pack of White Claw to someone.
Yep. Non-cowboy listeners may not understand it when we burn it, but hey, you'll get to know the community as we do it.
There you go. I like that. I like that. All right. Well, leading off on some topics, everybody's kind of fixated right now. When I came out of the house a little bit ago, the Kyle Rittenhouse trial is still underway. They're in closing arguments right now, and that's a pretty hot topic. So, Deuce, what's your hedge bet on how this goes?
Well, from what I can hear, they're the prosecutors doing their best to turn the subject matter into something that is not related to the case.
Yeah.
Everything I hear is, as we were just leaving the house tonight, I heard that, the terminology, AR-15 with full metal jacket ammo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, well, I mean, anybody that knows anything about an AR-15 knows that it wouldn't be a solid lead projectile.
Right.
I mean, so
Right.
saying, he's trying to play to,
Sure.
they're using language to spark some emotion, which is a tactic that prosecutors use.
Yeah.
I mean, going by all the, what you hear, what you read, I highly doubt he's going to be found guilty.
Yeah.
But stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
I also thought that Joe Biden wouldn't win.
Right.
So, and here we are.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Epstein didn't kill himself, and OJ did it. So we know those things.
Those are things that we know.
We know.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see how it all turns out. I watched a little bit of it on and off today. I had a lot of things going on, but the prosecutors, man, they're showing their lack of knowledge on a lot of things. They mentioned that he had 30 bullets in the gun, which was kind of interesting. That's exactly how they phrased it.
Pretty standard.
30 bullets.
Yeah. Most of them come with a clip
Yeah. There you
that
go.
holds 30 bullets.
Right. Can you buy them
That's
that
the
way?
proper terminology I just used there, too.
There you go.
The
Sure.
clip.
The clip. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes. Hopefully, deliberation's short on it and it kind of sends a message right away. I know earlier today they dropped the weapons charge against him, which was a very telling point from the judge's bench that, the judge made that decision to drop that. So he took one of the smaller offenses out of play for the jury. So now it's an all or nothing type situation, which I think actually plays to Kyle's favor. And we wish him the best of luck in this. And
And from what I can tell, from what I've watched, ever since the election, I've really kind of stopped watching the news.
Yeah.
But the judge seems to be most interested in making sure that this is done correctly.
yeah, no loopholes.
No
for appeals.
loopholes.
Yep.
And he's not, I think he's trying his hardest to not let it turn into a witch hunt circus type situation, which is nearly impossible in a situation like this. But,
Sure.
He seems to be as good as you could probably ask for.
Sure. Not guilty charge, if it comes down that way, big step forward for the Second Amendment, big step forward with a case precedents as far as arguing in future cases for AR-15s as a defense weapon. So there is a lot riding on this besides what's riding on it for Kyle, of course. And there again, we wish him the best of luck. I think his defense team has done a really, really good job. There's been a lot of controversy about him being put on the stand, but I spent 29 years in law enforcement. So, and I've been on the stand several times. I've been in several different trials as a witness or as the arresting officer, or what have you. That told me something right there, that the defense team in their hearts believed that he's not guilty.
Right.
I know, sometimes attorneys may have a case that they kind of feel, well, he probably is guilty. Let's shield him as much as we can. In this case, they put him on there because they had nothing to fear with it.
Right.
And mixed emotions. People have mixed emotions whether it was a good move or a bad move. I personally think it was a good move, and I guess we'll know in a day or two. So
yeah, and the only thing I'll add is I was completely disgusted by some of the social media and response to his testimony that some people like LeBron James and Joy Behar were making fun of him,
right,
because of the emotion that he showed on the stand. And,
sure.
I didn't see, I've watched it 3 times, I think. And I don't see anything fake there.
Right.
What I see is somebody that is reliving something that was extremely traumatic.
Oh, sure. He was fighting for his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And upset by the whole, it's, obviously he's upset by taking a life. There's no doubt about it.
Sure. So, okay, well, we'll see in the next few days. Maybe we'll cover a little bit of that in one of our upcoming episodes on how it turns out and what it actually has to do for the Second Amendment or against the Second Amendment, I guess. There's going to be one way or the other here in the next few days. So hopefully by the weekend they'll have a decision made and they can wrap it up and be done with it.
Right.
So, all right, let's, what do you want to talk about next?
Well, deer season's in full swing.
All right, jump right into the fire, won't we?
Right into the fire.
Some big events happened recently, and
we had our opener Saturday.
Yeah, well, Bo opened October 1. But
gun opener was Saturday, I should say.
Yep.
I was in the stand.
Oh, I wasn't.
You were not, but
okay.
I was.
Yeah.
And it was a fun weekend, and I got to take my son out on Sunday afternoon, and we saw about 25 deer that day, which was fun.
Yep.
And
Mason's how old now?
Mason is 11.
That's
so
awesome.
he sat with me in the blind and did great.
Really exciting to get.
I realized there's a lot of kids that start younger than that, or that have been sitting for a long time with their dads. And I don't push my kids to do. I kind of let them make their own decisions, and I'll make suggestions like, hey, you want to go with me? Right. And he wanted to go with me. Yeah. And so he was warm and comfortable, and we got to see a lot of deer, which was fun for him.
That's great.
So it's I think it might have lit a little bit of a spark in him. Yep. So we'll see next spring if he wants to start putting in the time and work and getting into the stand himself. So, but then this morning, you and I went out.
Yep.
2 different locations, same property, just picturesque. 28 degrees, fresh snow, still. I mean, it was sun was coming up, and it was a beautiful morning to be in the stand. Just iconic morning. And there's a particular deer that we've seen a couple times before gun opened, and I know you encountered him in the bow stand a couple times.
Several times, yeah.
And he was one that I was after. Kurt and I look for mature bucks on the property. We try to manage the local herd in conjunction with a couple of the local property owners. Yep. We try to take mature bucks as well as doe. On occasion. Meat. Yep. Because him and I both love venison. Yep. We both eat it, and
our families eat it.
My kids love it. We eat it all year long, and so the. I like being transparent, and I like being relatable. Yep. And this is not something that a lot of people would like to talk about.
This is kind of hard for him, folks. So pay attention.
Not really. It's not really that hard because I'm. Anybody that knows me knows I'm pretty much an open book. So there's not a whole lot of secrets. But I missed the 10-point this morning. I went full spaz mode and got the buck fever. And
The old buck fever.
the old
oh
buck
God.
fever, and I will say that I consider myself a very new deer hunter.
Yep.
I've shot 2 doe and one 8-point previously,
Yep.
so all were one shot,
Yep.
almost
Fantastic
immediate kills.
Yep.
And so I go into the woods as of late with a fair level of confidence, and
Because you've shot rifles before, right?
I've shot
Yeah.
rifles before on occasion.
All right.
Yeah. So I'd done my due diligence. We had sighted in, and I was feeling confident with my gun and my gear.
That was the one that got the
some-
new fancy stock painted on it. and
Yeah, I had a
everything.
custom paint
Custom
job on the stock.
job.
By,
Made it look faster.
yeah. But it sure didn't help my performance with it today. I can tell you that much. So pretty much I'll give the play-by-play. So, Kurt, we text each other while we're in the stand. He's in a tree. I'm in a box blind. And
Not like teenage girls text or anything, but
no,
you know,
we don't Snapchat
every
or-
few minutes.
Yeah, we don't do face slap or any of that kind of stuff. So
Space-
Facebook,
Facebook. My
Facebook.
grandma
But
calls it.
yeah, we just text activity back and forth, and I saw a buck kind of trot about 100 yards away from me on the tree line towards you. So I texted you, "Hey, buck coming your way," and not knowing that it was the one that the buck that we've been looking at on the property, and it's so obviously you've had more than a couple opportunities to shoot this one, and Kurt is in a little bit more of a discerning position as a hunter than I am. You've got it, so we have some land rules that we abide by as far as size, and he fits the criteria, but you were waiting.
Yep.
So, and I was honestly, I did not expect to see him. I thought he would move on and go into another part of the property. And so I was looking in one part of the field, and I turned my head, and there he stands with the doe, and just total. I was kind of in the wrong position, totally not prepared for that, and I think he was about 35 yards, somewhere in that range. So definitely a shootable range for me, and I flat out missed him. So
Should have had your cowboy rifle with you.
should have had my cowboy rifle.
Could have dumped in.
Yeah, I could have had a lot of different guns with me after the fact, but 50 BMG, something like that would have been. But I just got guys, just being straight up honest, biggest buck that I've ever shot at, and while I'm not an antler hunter, it's exciting to get what would have been for me a trophy at the time, and he would have
Beautiful buck.
would have ate wonderfully, and I just straight up screwed it up, and then you pointed out to me afterwards you didn't screw it up because you missed him.
You missed him.
You didn't make a bad shot on him.
Yep.
You didn't, and guys, I will say that I'm fortunate to have a hunting mentor in CC here. Since I've decided to get serious, what I thought was serious about deer hunting, and so he's taught me a lot, and the number one thing he's taught me is the ethical side of the hunt, and respect for the animal, and just respect for our laws, and abiding by them, and today was a test of that.
Sure.
So I think you were proud.
Yep.
The decisions I made after that.
Yep.
The good news is he doesn't know what happened.
Right. He heard a bang.
He
but
heard a
nothing
bang.
happened. Nothing bad happened. Yep.
So
And he heard another bang. And nothing bad happened.
And he heard another bang. I missed him twice. I wasn't going to include that in the story, but thank you. Anyway,
Thank you for being on Unloaded, where we talk about anything at any time.
yep, I missed him twice.
Missed him twice.
And guys, here's the deal. I don't deer hunt. It's not a bravado, ego thing for me. Obviously, I love doing it. So that's why I'm being open and honest about my experience, and not going to.
And I gave him an out earlier today, so I got to hand it to him because I said we can talk about a lot of things tonight. We don't have to talk deer hunting, and he said, "Nope, I'm going to fess up to it."
Yeah.
So,
And
that's great.
and it doesn't, and I've never related one thing to another, but I was talking to another friend today, and he says, "Yeah, it ain't cowboy shooting, is it?" And well, yeah, I knew that. So yeah, no, it's not cowboy shooting. Absolutely not. I've never considered it cowboy shooting when I'm shooting at a live animal. But what a learning experience it was for me today, because we talked about it earlier. I won't get super in depth about what happened, but I just straight up wigged out.
Yeah.
And
buck fever.
I got buck fever. I let my adrenaline get the best of me. I threw all of what I know of pulling a trigger, threw it away, and obviously,
right.
And and Kurt said, well, after we came out of the woods today, we had lunch, and he said, why don't you go shoot your rifle in long range, and just to make sure that there's nothing wrong. So I angrily walked to long range with my eyes and ears on and snapshot the 100-yard target dead center, and which only made me angrier
at the time. Confident of the gun.
Made me confident in the gun.
That's
so
where
I did,
we were at.
and I already knew the answer.
Yep.
Because I hadn't dropped the rifle, I hadn't banged the scope or anything like that. So, but I mean, it's a good thought. But
sure.
I'm glad I did it. But I knew what it was,
sure.
and the more I replay it in my head, the more I realized that, I absolutely did not keep my wits about me.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I'm fortunate that it turned out the way it did.
Sure.
Just totally being transparent. I'm glad I didn't make a bad shot.
Right.
So
absolutely,
I was relieved to come up on the scene. Because we waited a couple hours before we got out of the stands. I was happy to come out of the scene and see that there was no blood anywhere around, and then you had actually saw him running around and kicking up his heels.
Yep.
And he may have actually flipped me off at one point in time. I don't know, but
he had a grin on his face.
He had a grin on his face. Yeah. All I know is he went right back to chasing does.
Right.
So,
he came through on my side and with the does.
Yeah.
Unaware of what had transpired, not realizing you were in mental anguish over it, and that you were even there. So, he moved on with the does, and I watched him move on to the north, and he'll be back around. So, lots of takeaways from this, folks, for the deer hunters out there, the new deer hunters or the prospective deer hunters. There again, I don't know it all, but I've been deer hunting for, 40 years.
Yeah. You've taken a lot of game.
Yeah, taken a lot of game. Takeaways from today, the adrenaline can hit you at any time. I know, my uncle has told me this story more than once over his largest buck ever. Which would have been, I think, in the late 80s, early 90s is when he took that buck, and he looked over his shoulder and that buck was standing there at 40 yards.
Yeah.
And he admitted, he said, if he would have watched that buck come at him through the entire woods, he doesn't think he could have shot. He thinks he would have just absolutely melted down with that buck coming in because it's a monster. And I've killed a lot of nice deer, but I'm not even close to that deer. And he said, by the good grace of God, he didn't see him coming, didn't hear him coming. He just turned, seen him, and gun went to his shoulder, and he shot him.
Yeah.
So, in those cases, somewhat of a blessing, I guess.
Sure.
To have that situation. But then also it comes down to time in the field, experience with them. While we've seen a lot of deer, you haven't had years and years of seeing deer,
right,
to where, it takes a lot of activity after you've seen a lot of deer to actually get the heart rate way up and then to start getting an adrenaline dump out of it. I have deer under me all the time.
Right.
I don't get the adrenaline dump anymore. Unless there's a fight among bucks or, bucks come in and start beating brush up or they start really hard chasing does. And then, admittedly end up with the adrenaline. So then it's just managing it, no different than any other competitive shooting, cowboy shooting or whatever. There's a certain point when you got to start managing your adrenaline.
Yeah.
Once you start getting it. So, no, you did a great job today. The other thing that, Deuce mentioned there that I want to mention to hunters because tracking or checking to see if you've hit your deer. This is in my opinion, one of the largest mistakes made by hunters in the field and what causes them not to be able to locate their game or to have to track it an exceptionally long distance. And that's going to the scene too early. Set and wait. If you do not know exactly where you hit that deer, or you do not see the blood from your stand, or you do not hear them crash, or are used to seeing what we call the death run, where they're dead but still on their feet and just don't know it.
Right.
If you don't see those elements take place or multiple elements take place, stay put, stay quiet.
Yeah.
I was asked the other night, why do they keep whispering after they take a shot on one of the TV shows? Well, they keep whispering because they don't want to kick in the death run for the deer to where they hear this after something traumatic just happened, being shot, and it causes that last release of adrenaline to where they run for a mile.
Right.
So they continue to whisper, they continue to stay quiet, they wait it out. Waiting it out is so important. Some people think, especially archery as an example. A friend of mine shot one week and a half ago, nice buck, maybe it tracked it a little too soon.
Right.
If that deer, it was not a exceptional hit. We don't know for sure, but obviously the deer wasn't located. But if it's not an exceptional hit, the deer may run off and then lay down. Not sure why they have pain,
right.
Not sure what's happened to them, but they lay down and then they expire.
Right.
Where if they're being pushed or they hear sounds or whatever, then they continue on. And then that's where you start losing blood trails. That's where they get unpredictable, break off trails, try to cross creeks and rivers, and then you don't recover. Mm-hmm. So I notice on the Facebook groups, there's a lot of Facebook groups for, I'm sure, every state, but Indiana obviously is the one I watch. But opening weekend, seen a lot of posts on there, guys, all over the state, asking for tracking dogs. Does anybody have a tracking dog close to this county or that county?
Right.
We've got, a nice buck and losing blood. And there are guys around that do have tracking dogs. They're fantastic. But there's just not enough of them
right.
to get out. And, if they go to track somebody's deer, they're pretty much done for the day. That dog can't track multiple deer in the day. It takes a lot out of them. Plus, it's a lengthy process. It's not just kick the dog loose and the dog goes and finds a deer. It's a full track, and could take hours and hours to try to locate. So, wait your time up in the stand. Once everything's calmed down, completely quiet, I always give them a minimum. Even if I think it's a good shot, I give them 35, 40 minutes.
Right.
Even if it's an exceptional shot and I can hear them crash. Now, if I can see them go down, then yeah, you can get down if you see them collapse right there, and there's no more movement. But if you hear them crash off in the distance, I still don't get down for half hour, 45 minutes.
Right.
The other reason I don't get down is my own safety. And, you've got a lot of adrenaline, you've got a lot of motion, and then you're going to unharness from the tree and
right.
climb down. That takes some focus and concentration,
right.
and I don't want somebody falling out of a stand, me included. So I'll sit up there, relax a little bit, replay everything in my head multiple times, think about it, and then get down and check the initial site of impact, check out the color of your blood, see how much blood, see how far it's splattered. See what kind of tracks are left there. How hard did they kick when they went? Because your mind's eye plays a little different game with you sometimes too. The evidence on the ground can tell you a lot. And then start your track. So, and then when you're tracking, one other technique that we use that I've shown a lot of people, so I'll just say it on here as a free tip for everybody: carry a roll of toilet paper in your carry bag. And that can be used for a lot of things. But from the sense of tracking deer, lay down a piece of toilet paper right where your first blood is. And then as you start walking, lay out more toilet paper. It's biodegradable. It's going to disappear. Right. So just lay it out as you go. Then you can turn around and look back behind you, and you can see the path that the deer was taking. I've shown this to a lot of hunters. This was actually a technique that my grandma showed me. She was one of the best deer trackers I've ever met. Yeah. And I go one step further anymore too. If I'm not sure how far the deer went, I'll hang a glow stick right there at the point of impact. I'll hang it in the tree, because if it becomes dark,
right,
or I have to back out because I don't think it was a good enough hit to keep tracking, I can always come back and find that glow stick. I got 12 hours before it goes dead. So, right. Cheap little glow stick hanging there in the tree starts you right back on the track. So, we did that down in Kentucky a couple years ago when I took that velvet buck down there. hit him just slightly back a little bit, and we were in a woods that was actually 5,000 acres. I texted the guide and said, hey, I just hit one, but I hit him a little bit back. I think I caught part of the lung, but I hit him just a little bit back, and he said, do not get down. Yeah. If you do, you're going to send him into 5,000 acres. We're not going to be able to find him. I said, no problem. So they finally came. We got down. I went over, hung a glow stick. We looked at the blood. We backed out. We got the rest of the team together, his guide team, and we came back then. We had the glow stick to start with, and we started tracking. That's when I started deploying the toilet paper, and they were like, what are you doing? And so these are professional guides that have never seen that trick.
Right.
But I'm sure to this day they all carry toilet paper in their guide packs. So, and like I say, it can help you out in more than one situation if you needed it. So we tracked him, and he had only gone 140, 150 yards, and he was laying there. But at that point, we weren't positive.
Right.
But because we backed out, he went up there and laid down.
Right. A little bit of patience saved you a lot of work.
Oh, absolutely. He would have been gone. Yeah. So he would have been gone. So, there's just a few of the takeaways from it, folks. And, you can shoot your rifles as many times as you want on paper. And, we encourage it for muscle memory of the trigger, of the recoil of the gun, what you're looking at through the scope. But when it comes right down to it, when the deer's right in front of you, it kind of changes the adrenaline dump. It changes the dynamic of how you're going to perform. It also steals some of your manual dexterity because I don't know, do you remember pulling the trigger this morning? I mean, the actual physical feel of it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No. So, I mean, and it's not, again, it was, it's I'm not like I said, it's not like a pride upset.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm upset with myself for not assessing the situation a little bit better, and from what I have learned, and my problem is I create an urgency in a situation that didn't require it.
Yeah.
If I would have taken a deep breath and assessed the situation, he's with a doe.
Yep.
He's not going anywhere.
Right.
It's rut. He's hot on a doe. And she's hot, and he's fine. I have plenty of time. Yep. Well, because of rut, every buck that I've seen up until this point was moving elsewhere.
Sure.
Looking,
seeking.
I created this urgency, that I didn't have to. So lesson learned there.
Right.
And again, guys, it just, hey, I pushed it and completely got the buck fever, which I've obviously heard about, never had personally until today.
Congratulations to the club.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And and the more you talk to guys, some are a little bit more coy about it than others, but sure. I think if you do it long enough, somebody has the story about, there's always critics out there, guys. Absolutely. And I'm sure there's guys that are going to be listening to this that are disgusted with me, but hey, I missed.
Yeah. Well, like I told you earlier, years and years and years ago, back before they allowed rifle in Indiana, you could hunt with a pistol that shot rifle caliber. Right. So I hunted with a Thompson Center Contender pistol in .35 Remington, carried a extendable yoked stick.
Right.
It was before the trigger sticks. So that tells you how long ago it was. But in the stand, a very, very nice buck came in. I put that pistol in that yoke, and it's normally a very, very steady platform to put that on, almost like bench shooting a rifle. And I put that in there, extended the gun out, and I had the shake so bad that the gun was just swirling.
Right.
And I never could pull the trigger. There was no way I could get the crosshairs on him.
Right.
And he wandered off, and a day or so later, I killed an equally nice buck, but it was not that buck.
Right.
But I'd had time to analyze what had happened to me, and it was an adrenaline dump, buck fever. So it was pretty rough.
Yep. And you relaying those stories makes me feel better about what happened today, because again, I'm just not super happy with myself, but again, I take away lessons from it, and we'll go from there. We'll live to hunt another day.
Right.
So.
And to your point about the deer, like we talked about earlier today, is the deer are out there 24/7. They don't totally disappear from the woods. That's their home. They live there. We're invading their home. So they're going to be around. Now, when a buck is seeking, a doe, and he doesn't have a doe with him, if he's out seeking, trying to find, checking scrapes, checking other buck scrapes, they can travel miles
Right.
in a day. We had that happen a couple years ago. A neighbor over here, well, one of the bucks I shot, they had pictures of 2.5 miles away the day before on the other side of the Tippecanoe River, which was pretty impressive.
Right.
And then I killed it the next day. But so they'll move around a lot, but that also gives you another opportunity to see another deer that you weren't going to see. But in the case when they are following a doe, does typically don't move miles a day,
Right.
especially when they're going into season.
Right.
They'll just kind of mill around till they feel comfortable to allow the buck to breed. So they'll stay in thickets, they'll move around, and they'll try to get away from other deer so that it doesn't end up with a fight among bucks. So in a lot of cases, I won't say all cases, but in a lot of cases, if you see a buck early in the morning, you're going to see him a couple hours later if he's with a doe. Even if they run out of sight, they'll drift back because she's not going to travel, like I say, for miles.
Right.
She wants to, get away from me maybe,
Right.
or find a private place, breed, and then take a nap.
Yeah.
So, be a little patient with that.
Yeah.
I guess it would probably be the best result. And pick your location for the shot. Sometimes if they're traveling in a direction, and I've had this a lot in archery, especially when all the leaves and things are still on, or if you're in a climbing stand and haven't had time to trim branches and that type of thing like I was in Kentucky, I had to wait for an opening. I could see an opening and I could see his path that he was walking. So I drew and waited in that opening for him and basically was ambushing him at that point rather than trying to force an opportunity where I thought maybe I could sneak one through. I just had to be patient. And it took several minutes for him to get there.
Yeah, and today he was in an excellent position, and I was not.
I understand.
So so I should have adjusted.
Yep.
And but like I said, lesson learned.
The checklist happens quick.
Yes.
I mean, am I seeing everything through the scope? Are my crosshairs centered? Am I good on my shoulder? Am I tight on my cheek?
Right.
Is my finger in the right place on the trigger? Is
Like
my
I
safety
said,
off?
all of because as somebody that I've sent 250,000 rounds of live ammunition downrange in competitive shooting and practice. Pulled the trigger a lot.
Yep.
And I totally abandoned everything that I've done a gazillion times over and over again.
Sure.
So it happens.
Yep. Well, before season's out, I'm pretty sure he's going to get laid down one way or another.
One way or the other.
Yep,
yeah.
one way or another. So he's going to be laying down here in the next week and a half or so. So
I may have a little bit of a score to settle now.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Yep. Better hurry.
Maybe next time we podcast, maybe one of us will have put him down. So.
Yep. Possibly.
Yeah.
Now you're like, damn it.
Well, what you're hearing right now is I got my shot. So that's, I better see
I'll
him.
let you. No,
I
I'll
better
let,
see him.
I'll let him walk here a couple more times, but if he's still around,
Yeah.
you better take that shot.
No. But it was, and I still had a ball today.
Yeah, it was. It was a fun day, beautiful day.
Despite missing. So
Yeah.
I still had a good time. So.
Yep.
Yep. And, Mason got home. My oldest son, he was 11, wanted to know how the hunt went immediately. And I had to shamefully tell him what happened. And, he just kind of gave me the, how could you look?
Did he really?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
Mason give you that look?
He did.
Gosh,
Mason. He
Yep.
can't, he's an 11-year-old boy.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
they know everything about everything right now.
Sure. Absolutely. That's great. Oh, well, good. I hope everybody's enjoying deer season, that it's out there hunting. Those that aren't hunting or that want to start hunting, find you a good mentor, find you somebody, you're going to know somebody. If you live in Indiana, especially, you're going to know somebody that deer hunts. So just start talking to people. You'd be surprised who's going to offer you information, offer you maybe assistance, and maybe want to mentor you directly and put you in the field with them or close to them, or at least, maybe help you try to locate a place to hunt. And, and then also join a lot of the Facebook groups. Like I say, there's a ton of them out there. I think I follow 6 or 7 of them just for Indiana. Yeah. So I know all states have them. But they've been a really good wealth of information. A lot of nice deer taken this year. Congratulations to everybody that's got their buck this year, or their doe if they're just doe hunting.
Yeah.
Seen one, and I don't know who the guy is, but I found it. I even scrolled back and stopped and read the entire, and he had a very lengthy post about it, but it was very, very cool. Very small buck, little fork buck that he had shot, but he had done it with a muzzle loader that he casts the bullets for,
Right.
and also that he makes his own primer caps for.
Okay.
And I thought that was very, very cool. And he uses real black powder. So he's adding all the hard elements to it.
Open sights.
Open sight. Yep. Oh yeah, very, very very historically correct.
Yeah.
Muzzleloader and
as a non-existent.
Oh yeah. And it was very, very cool to read especially the whole explanation how the hunt went down. And he actually did it from the ground. So he spot and stalk. Right. And waited till it was raining the other day. The leaves were soft and spot and stalked. It was very cool. It was a very cool read. So,
and guys, not to get off on a gear tangent, but I mean, and I don't have like the most awesome deer hunting kit out there. I'm
but you're building it.
I'm building it, but I've got a good rifle. I'm shooting a Ruger American and 350 Legend, which for our yardage, typically.
For anything under 25 yards is great.
Yeah. I shot a doe last year with that rifle, so I was confident with it. And and decent, halfway decent optic on it, which I'm going to improve here. But as I learned, adding to my kit, but again, going back to the, you cannot buy it. Just like with, I don't care. You can have the greatest set of golf clubs in the world.
Sure.
Doesn't mean you're
not Tiger Woods.
Yeah, you're not Tiger Woods.
Yep.
So and I
Tiger,
today,
if you're listening, there's your shout out.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
And today I definitely wasn't Michael Waddell, and I wasn't even CC Top.
Yeah.
So,
that happens. Wow, you put me in a big family there. What the hell?
Put you in a big family.
But no, dude, and we appreciate you sharing the story. Like I say, I was willing to skip it, and you were upfront and said, "Hey, let's do it." So that's
why pass up on good content?
Absolutely.
At least what I think is good content.
Yeah, you didn't miss on purpose for good content, did you?
I did not.
Okay, all right. No. See, I gave you another out there, and you didn't take it.
I certainly did not. So.
No, I know you didn't. I can see the look on your face when I come over there. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
Well, the worst part for me is while I'm sitting up there, I can't see him. I hear one shot, and then I hear another shot, and then I see deer, and I put my gun up, and I thought, if any of these are wounded, I'm going to take them down right here. And I'm looking around, and there was no wounded deer in there. And I'm like, okay, did he already shoot a bigger buck? Because there's the one we've been watching. Did he already shoot a bigger buck? And did he shoot a doe then afterwards? And then I'm thinking, okay, if he shoots a doe, it's okay for me to go ahead and start shooting does. And I was going to try to double. And
because that's kind of our jam.
That's kind of our jam. And I was kind of all pumped up and ready to do that. And then I'm like, oh, he's not giving me any information here. I don't know. And then the text come through that you weren't 100% sure. And I was like, okay, we're going to let him walk and see how this turns out. So no problem. It gives us the opportunity to hunt another day.
We're going to go out again.
Yeah,
so, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going out in the morning, so you're welcome to go.
I'm coming.
Okay,
so,
great.
One way or the other.
Yep. So, there again, everybody, congratulations on those that have took deer. The other thing is, youth hunters, seen a lot of Facebook posts there again on these groups, young ones out there taking deer, and that's fantastic, folks. We got to get the younger generation involved in it. And that's great. You took Mason out. You've got two other young ones that, a couple more years, they're going to be ready to go out and at least observe and see. I'd like to take Mason with me here coming up and maybe get him in a regular ladder stand to try out at some point. So we'll talk about all those things and just get them involved, to get them, in the summertime, get them involved with food plots, get them involved with setting up stands and trail cameras, and make it fun and exciting and get the youth involved. Otherwise, there just won't be hunting available in the future. So
and it's just another connector too. It's just another community. I mean, one of our cowboy friends, Santa Fe River Stand down in Florida. He's in the midst of their season down there. And last weekend his youngest son took his first deer. And congratulations to Daniel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's awesome. I mean, and I spoke to Stan today this afternoon. He was still just vibrating with
Sure.
with pride and excitement.
Sure.
So it was, he described the whole thing to me, and it was a really, really cool experience for him. So congrats to Stan and his son for their first go round.
That's fantastic. Good deal. Good deal. Yeah, we have a lot of great friends all over the United States that are hunters, and then also obviously cowboy shooters. But wishing you all the best of luck out there this year. Yeah. So text us and let us know about it. Send us an email or something, and we'll mention it here on the podcast. And good deal. How are we doing on time?
We're about...
okay. Yeah. Why don't we run one of the commercials here real
okay,
quick for
sure.
WR Hall, our insurance company sponsor. Mm-hmm. They provide all our insurance here for Two Bear Arms and for my personal property, and they provide workers' comp, a lot of other liability policies and contents and stuff. Fantastic people over there. You've met Mike. You know quite a bit about Mike.
Yeah, Mike's wonderful people. Comes in, great customer. Yep. Always a pleasure to talk to, very personable. Yep. And, one thing that's important for me when you're doing business with people is, for those that are listening, if you're listening to us, you're most likely pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment. Yep.
If you're not, get off our channel.
Yeah. But, guys, Mike at WR Hall is one of us.
Yep.
So pro-Second Amendment guy. Yep. Loves the shooting sports. Yep. And great guy. So if you're in the market for insurance, check him out.
Yeah. So. What's tagline?
WR Hall, they've got you covered.
They've got you covered. I like that. So did Mike ever start paying you royalties for that, coming up with that?
We haven't really talked about it.
Okay. Mike Deuce needs to talk to you.
It's probably in the fine print, much like our contracts.
Could be.
Could be. Yeah. I'm always reminded of the fine print.
The fine print. Yeah. Yes, you got to love the fine print. So, hey, we did something kind of cool last week. We did like we mentioned earlier, the Razorback Red deal, and forced a 6-pack of White Claw to be given away at Razorback's expense. And we kind of talked about it earlier and decided in our conference that we had, not really, we were sitting at my kitchen bar, but we decided every week from this week forward, we're going to, basically just throw one of our friends under the bus here and make them provide somebody a 6-pack of White Claw. And so, every week we're just going to randomly pick a friend. And today we were talking deer hunting, and one of our friends really likes deer hunting. And actually, we already talked about him a little bit. I think... Let's. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it. I like it. Yeah. My only concern is that we're giving a whole lot of free promotion of White Claw.
Well, I know, but Razorback's such a big fan of White Claw.
He is such
I think
a big.
He's on the board of directors out there for White Claw.
He might be in secret, like a
marketing campaign.
Yeah, he might be into the marketing.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. We're not going to call out the flavor this time though, because we're going to we'll let him choose the flavor that they get. So.
Okay, you announcing it or am I?
You can.
Okay,
that's fine.
All right. Yep. Santa Fe River Stan's going to have to pony up a 6-pack of White Claw to the very first listener that contacts him, either by text, email, phone,
in person,
however.
At a match.
Yep. So get a hold of Santa Fe River Stan. Last week's winner is not eligible to win this week. Okay?
Yes,
she's pretty diligent.
Yeah. Do you hear that?
Yeah,
young lady.
Yeah, and she has access to all those people too.
She's of drinking age. Though.
Yeah, and you should be of drinking age.
Yeah, you should be 20. At least this only applies to those that are 21.
Yeah.
Even though it is White Claw,
you
still have to be 21.
Yeah. So Mason, you cannot win this.
Yeah, my children are not eligible. Okay. And we should also point out that Two Bear Arms employees.
Yeah, we better. We the People
not,
Munitions employees, Two Bear Arms employees,
one of us,
and SAS and SAS employees. Let's go ahead and put that out there too. But SAS members, now you're eligible.
Yeah,
you
are eligible. Go for it. Go after him. He would love to buy you a Santa Fe River Stan. Yeah. Owes somebody a 6-pack of White Claw.
There you go. And he'll pay the postage and everything and ship that off.
I don't think you can ship that thing.
Oh yeah, you just mark it fragile and just drop it in a box. And, wait a minute, no, probably
I don't
can't
know if
do
we
that.
need that recorded.
Okay, well, it's our podcast.
Even though there are definitely more dangerous things that you can legally ship than White Claw.
Well, absolutely, yeah.
Rubbing alcohol.
Sure.
Brake cleaner.
Okay.
Those are all things that are inherently more dangerous than White Claw.
Right. Taste about the same. No, never mind. Sorry, I'm getting sued over that.
No,
all right, no. White Claw's
I've never actually had one. Yeah. So
I've seen the cans.
I've seen people drink it before.
Yeah.
Razorback red mostly.
Yep.
But I actually, that's not true. I saw Furball, White Claw. We have photographs.
We have a photograph
have
of that.
photograph
That's
of that,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's all indignant about it being photographed.
Yeah. Actually, you need to post that on the We the People Munitions page on Facebook, that picture. No, wait. And just put the heading up there. Listen to our podcast for the contest rules and how to win.
Okay.
And then use Furball's picture on there. That would be pretty cool.
Okay.
And he likes having his picture out there.
He does.
He's a hero and idol to millions.
Yeah. Maybe I
So-
should not do the meme portion of it.
That's up to you.
Okay.
Editor's choice. So, dealer's choice.
Okay.
Oh, good deal.
But again, guys, this is unloaded session.
Yep.
It's a lot of fun for us.
Absolutely
And, we hope you're enjoying the content. And, we don't want to get overly political with it, but, we're going to bump all over the place with topics. And, as the seasons change and, Christmas is right around the corner.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're probably going to do maybe a Christmas edition.
See? Look at you. Look at you. You're full of
The
ideas.
things
I like
that
it.
we've already got Christmas music playing in the shop
I
all
know,
day long.
I know. I tried it anyway.
24/7.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Oh,
it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
oh,
especially today.
look at that.
Yeah.
Nice segue. So, shameless plug for Two Bear Arms. We do have a lot of the Christmas gift items in stock now. Come in, get gift cards.
Mm-hmm.
Come in, get ammunition. Get Benchmade knife, some clothing.
Flashlight.
Get
yourself an
I
Olight.
got me a new Olight today. It's pretty nice. It's one of their brand new models too. That's the Warrior Mini.
You product testing that one, are you?
Yeah, I'm product testing this one.
Yep.
That seems to happen a lot. I got some new Oakleys today too. that I'm
Not
product
sure
testing.
how I get on that program.
Well, we'll put your application in and see how that
Yeah,
works.
let me know how that goes.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. So,
It's right there next to my paycheck.
yep, and there you go. There you go. Those that make the big bucks. Hey, everybody. We thank everybody for listening. We look forward to next week's episode. Next week, we're, let's see, I'll get myself out of sync.
Next week we are
Trigger time. Trigger time,
which is
so-
going to be gun industry news, new products coming out. We'll have some new stuff to talk about.
Yep.
We got maybe even we'll bring a gun on and show you something out,
yeah.
guys. We're going to try real hard during trigger time to always have some kind of product.
Yeah.
I'm laying that out there right now. We didn't discuss that, but it just gives some more content. And,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Maybe we'll do one episode coming up where we get 4 or 5 of the new guns. 'Cause
Sure.
there's a lot of them coming in right now, pre-shot show type stuff.
Yes.
So maybe in next one or the one after that, we'll put those out there.
Awesome.
And then the following week after that, we go back to On the Trail with CC and Deuce, where we'll talk SAS news and such. These rotate every 3 weeks. So follow us on your favorite podcast provider. Follow us, like us, share us, please. It's very important. We got a lot of shares and a lot of likes last week.
Yeah,
We
and we
appreciate
really appreciate that.
Yeah,
So I know I got a lot of personal messages from people that are listening, and I've even heard some feedback from people that I had no idea were listening. So
Right.
that which is awesome, guys. That's why we're doing this. It's nice to know that we're not just talking to ourselves,
Right.
because we do that every day.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, and Phil would be bored if he was here and
Yeah.
knew that nobody was listening or watching. So,
Yep.
and
And
we like
again,
that.
just to mention it, we really appreciate Phil and the job he's doing. He's doing a great
Absolutely.
job with both the podcast and the videos.
Yep.
So appreciate
Yep.
it.
Follow us on the YouTube, and as we always tell you, keep your powder dry. We'll see you next time. Thank you.